I've been restoring historic buildings and properties since 1997. My estimator asked me if I wanted to restore a lighthouse, and he began to tell me about the lighthouse, and he was looking at pictures back from the 1700s where the lighthouse was on the edge of land. And me being a waterman and knowing this area, told him, Tom, you're wrong. This thing sits in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay. And I pulled up Google Maps and showed him where the new Point Comfort Lighthouse was, surrounded by water. So that's when we entered the marine construction gamut of taking on this project. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, not only for us, but for anybody to work on a lighthouse in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay.
Got a call from a friend of mine who was talking about needed somebody to take some people out to look at the lighthouse that was going to do some work on the lighthouse. I knew we weren't going to be able to do it by crane without it being so expensive, so it had to be scaffolding, it had to be gantry cranes. So when George started telling me about the scaffolding and the gantry cranes and all, I knew that he was the man for the job.
I've never worked on a lighthouse before. Didn't know if I should tuck tail and run or actually dive in both feet, and I decided to dive in both feet. We like to do stuff that's very out of the ordinary or out of that square box. We like doing things that nobody else wants to do.
Anybody can build a new building. Anybody can go downtown and build a skyscraper with the right subcontractors, the right team, and accomplish that. But not everyone can come out here, on an island and do what we're doing to a lighthouse. It's really a sight to see. The first time you come around the bend and you see the lighthouse and you see all of our steel and all of our scaffold up around it, it's pretty incredible from an engineering point of view. It's definitely not something you see every day. I mean, we're 12 bucks high, 4 sides around this lighthouse with 60 feet of steel webbing, in 3 sections holding it all together. It's cool.
The most intriguing thing about this job is dealing with the 200, 300-year-old sandstones that make up this building. A lot of this stone is eroded pretty bad, especially the lower sections on the south side, which over the years is where most of these really, really bad hurricanes have come through here and destroyed the land between here and Matthews County, which made this an island. So that side of the building is where most of the stone will be fixed and patched so that it'll be here for the next 200, 300, 400 years.
So going through the spec book, started to realize that a lot of the masonry stuff had cathedral stone products specified. It was really a whole circle thing when it came to using cathedral stone. Like everybody's worked together and everything's worked together so well. We're using the whole system on the whole lighthouse. We're using the potassium silicates, we're using the M70 patches, we've used anchor mortar, we've got an injection grout kit, we're using the natural adhesive for our Dutchman repairs. So we're using the whole cathedral stone system in order to bring this lighthouse back to, how it stood 220 odd years ago when it was first built. Cathedrals they have a reputation. They have a damn good reputation for this historic stuff, this historic restoration. So it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer.
We feel like after we finish this project with the products we're using and also our skilled tradesmen, it's going to outlast the original workmanship that was done here many years ago by the people commissioned by Thomas Jefferson. I have a passion for it. I was a history major at Old Dominion. I believe that when we preserve history, we learn from our forefathers and we keep something around, something very important that you cannot duplicate.
I'm glad to see it done. I mean, I'd like to see it here. It was here before I was here, and it's going to be here after I'm gone. And I'm glad to see it. And I'm glad to be a part of it because, maybe someday somebody will look in some pictures and say, hey, look at what this guy did. He's been from one end of the world to the other. And it's all been handwork. It hasn't been, we don't use cranes and stuff when we go to Africa. We use cables, just like this, and chain falls, which is the only way to do something like this. I can't think of no other way. Helicopter. Yeah, yeah.